It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
We've all done it. You see a headline but don't have time to read the whole story, or there's so much news you're not sure what is worth your time. I'm Colby Ekowitz, co-host of Post Reports, the weekday afternoon podcast from The Washington Post. Post Reports brings you what's relevant and revealing. Breaking stories, politics, wellness, culture. Each episode goes beyond a headline for the context you need. Find Post Reports now, wherever you're listening.
I'm Rodney Williams.
And I'm Travis Holloway. Welcome to the Wealth Break Podcast, a real conversation about finance.
Let's be honest. Building wealth doesn't look the same for everyone.
I feel like sometimes being broke is a cycle and that we might have to revisit that.
And we're not stopping at success stories.
What happens when it doesn't go right? How do you cope with it?
Because wealth isn't just about money. It's about creating a life where you thrive and help others do the same.
Listen to the Wealth Break Podcast on the iHeartRadio app.
KFI AM 640. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live on Instagram. We're live on YouTube, and we're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. I gotta tell you, I'm going to start somewhere different tonight. We have to talk Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. Because tonight, after the show, Mark Ronner and Tuwala Sharp are going to be at the movie.
You're damn right.
And the movie doesn't even start until 12:55 in the morning.
Oh, a little bro date.
Well, it's actually a little bit more than that. It's almost like a bro vacation.
It's like a bro sleepover.
Because
pretty much.
If they say the movie starts at 12:55, the actual movie past the trailers and Nicole Kidman, we're getting closer to 1:30.
Uh-huh.
All right?
Okay.
Then you have a movie which is trending towards 3 hours. No exaggeration. So you're looking at closer to 4:30. There might even be an end credit scene. So they'll probably stay to the end. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we'll get out just in time for our paper routes. It's
I told Mark afterwards we can go and get some IHOP because it'll be just in time for an early breakfast.
It's going to be breakfast time.
You ought to be hungry at that point. Because
we will be hungry.
The concession stand will be closed.
It closes around like 11:30. We're not getting anything when we get there. I don't even think we can get soda at that time. We can get
probably
nothing.
not.
Probably not. Well, you could probably. I don't think they turn off.
Oh no. They do. I know because I've gone to an AMC at 12:30. The last one I went to go see Craven. They literally were like, you can buy a bottled water, sir. I'm like, I can't even buy a soda to stay up. They're like, no, we shut all the machines off.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Towards the end of the night, all they have open and available is hot dogs and nachos. They stop making all the cooked stuff. And when you get to the later showings, why? Because there's no one in the damn theater.
Yeah.
So why keep that open? I understand. I wasn't mad at them for it.
I paid my tickets. Paid for my tickets. I should get the full service for those tickets.
No, when I went, I had actually ordered food ahead and I got there and they're like, oh, sorry. They shouldn't have taken that order. It's closed. So that's why I told Mark we can get like a coffee from the coffee machine here and get on the way over there.
Because I should have told you.
Yeah, no, look.
The reason I started with this is, and I'm saying this to be completely serious. Completely serious. I'm not trying to be funny. I am not going to be able to see the movie tonight.
What?
I got too much stuff going on. But I'll probably see it before this Memorial Day weekend is over.
What a betrayal this is.
Sorry. I mean, where were you the last time we went out?
Exactly. That's when I had a tooth explode in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was
the old tooth explosion.
Yes,
sounds like a Mission Impossible plot.
It sounds like a Get Smart plot. The old exploding tooth ploy.
I can't see the movie with you guys tonight, but I have been rewatching every single one of them back to back to back to back. I finished number 6 today, and of course, as you get to the more recent ones. Obviously, they're more memorable because you just saw them more recently.
Well, they don't get good until like number 5, right?
No, you're absolutely wrong, and I'm glad you said that, Mark Ronner.
Oh, God, here we go.
Starting from the beginning, and I told Tawala Sharp I owed him an apology because he was so high on the totality of the series. And I said, I don't know. It's like I've seen it before. Watching them back to back and noticing the overall consistency and quality, which doesn't drop. Now, I have problems with some of the plot holes and devices used along the way in some of the storytelling. But watching them back to back and also noticing how certain threads are carried over from movie to movie, or they might even skip a movie to resurface later. I have a much greater appreciation for the franchise as a whole. This is what I want people to take away from this opening segment. Given that Tom Cruise does all of his stunts, and given that is very much part of the acting process, okay? That is part of the performance. Regardless of how bad or how great this Mission Impossible Final Reckoning is, the 8th movie in the franchise, we should start a campaign for Tom Cruise to be nominated for an Academy Award. And before you dismiss it out of hand, if you have someone like Adrian Brody who wins an Academy Award, his second one, and he's not riding on the side of a plane, if he's not jumping off a mountain with a motorcycle, if he's not jumping from building to building, I have to think that is a lesser performance. And I'm being absolutely serious because it's a part of us believing that Ethan Hunt is actually an agent for IMF, the Impossible Mission Force.
Well, they've got a new category for stunts that starts in 2028.
That's all well and good. All right. You can nominate him for that as well. It's almost like nominating a great Marvel movie for best special effects or something. I think it is a diminution of the totality of the greatness of someone's performance. If that stunt person were also acting, I'm quite sure that stunt person deserves more credit. If you're going to relegate Tom Cruise to just his stunt work, then I think you've undersold his contribution to the movie or any of the movies, because his stunts are him. It's not CGI. It's not the back of his head. Yeah, with some stunt double. Yes. It's him. That's part of his performance. That's why we can believe that he can, let me be specific. It's him flying the helicopter in a canyon. It's him flying the plane. It's him jumping out of a plane. It is him doing the halo jump. It is actually him. Why that's never included in the consideration of Tom Cruise's acting performances? Because you got to remember, there's a close-up of his face as he's going through the air on all those things. It's him staying in character, even when he breaks his leg. Because I looked at that scene and it's like, oh, damn, he really did break his leg in that scene.
When he jumps off building to building. Cliff. No, I'm talking about when he's on the motorcycle.
Oh, yeah.
He does that leap off the. They went over that stunt over and over and over again. He wanted the camera in his face. He wanted people to feel it and go over the cliff with him. That is beyond method acting. There are people who will sit in the kitchen and learn how to cook, and next thing you know, they're getting nominated for some chef movie. Okay. As best actor, guess what? He should get the same.
You talk about method acting.
Yeah,
okay,
you never saw Olivier do that, did you?
All I'm saying is, and Tom Cruise or your agent, if you happen to be listening right now, we're starting a campaign. Tom Cruise, even though Mark Ronner's not down with the cause, Tom Cruise, Academy Award nominee for this last Mission Impossible film.
Absolutely.
Because I know the motorcycle one was good, but I saw an interview that he did with the one where he was on that side of the jet, or was it the plane?
It's a plane.
He had to wear like special contacts because the air was so strong.
Yes.
In order to keep his eyes open, that's what we had to do.
And that's a part of the acting.
Yeah.
You have to see his face.
Yeah, suck on that, Orson Welles.
Give him the credit. Give Tom Cruise his flowers. Now, see, Mark is trying to be funny. I'm being absolutely serious.
I know you are.
100% serious. Tom Cruise deserves, on the merit of his performance, Oscar consideration for Best Actor, because no one is going to that extreme to deliver a performance. If Adrian Brody, and I'm picking on him because he just won the most recent Best Actor award, if he was the one who was, flying the helicopters and jumping off cliffs with motorcycles, I would want him to get the same type of credit and acknowledgement.
Yeah, Brando just stuffed some cotton in his jowls. He didn't deserve that.
True story. I mean, the cotton in the jowls for The Godfather, but all these stunts are part of the performance because it's not like he's hiding his face. You're seeing his facial expressions. Give the man his flowers. The campaign starts now. Tom Cruise, Academy Award nominee for Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning.
What about a special Academy Award also for weird running?
No. He's trying to mock this. I'm being serious.
Your flippancy is absolutely absurd.
I'm being absolutely serious. It's not like it wouldn't be on the merits. Are you saying to me that someone does a stunt in a movie is not a part of their performance?
Beyond it being a stunt, it's part of the performance. When you see half these actors who are playing guitar as a musician and they've never picked up a guitar before, and what do? They cut away to someone who's actually playing guitar.
Yeah, they're showing the hands to someone else.
Whether it be a chef fast cutting some food. And I can't remember what the chef movie was, but they revealed that it wasn't the guy actually cutting up the vegetables. They had the chef come in and they cut away to the hands.
This is a major scandal you're uncovering here.
Mark, seriously, this is not.
Okay, just cut off his mic.
I mean, just
cut off his mic.
He can't cut off my mic.
Yes, he can.
I forbid it.
No.
I promise you.
What?
Steve McQueen was not driving the car in Bullet.
He was not.
He was not doing it. Tom Cruise was
doesn't that
driving
matter?
that car.
Actually, he was a bit.
No, he was driving, but he was not doing it during the chase scene.
Yes, he was driving the scenes when you could see him go around a corner.
Yeah.
Or when the car was up on the flatbed and the cameras were in the cabin with him. No.
Look at the Mission Impossible movies again, especially when he is driving all through Paris and he's doing the stunts in the car as the driver.
That was crazy.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Absolutely.
You have to say, like, gosh, that's a part of his performance. And it's not just the stunts. It's to be able to act, stay in character, do the stunts as well, in addition to delivering his lines. Tom Cruise deserves his flowers. And if you are Tom Cruise listening right now or his agent, you need to get in touch with us because we need to get this campaign rolling. Despite Mark Ronner.
Yeah.
In spite of Mark Ronner.
Mm-hmm.
In spite of.
It's Later with Mo Kelly. KFIM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. When we come back, we have an update on the Long Beach nurses strike that we've been discussing for the past couple of weeks. At the bottom of the hour, we'll be joined by Michael Monks. The Metro budget has been approved. And also we have an Eric Lasardo new bumper for that segment. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. That's all coming up in the next.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
There's an efficient way to get caught up on a lot of news. It's called The Seven from The Washington Post. It's a newsletter and podcast. Whether you're reading or hit play, you get 7 stories you need to know, and you can consume it all in just a few minutes. The Seven is out every weekday morning by 7 a.m. Eastern. I'm Hannah Jewell. I'm one of the writers, and I host the show. Find The 7 podcast wherever you're listening. The newsletter link is waiting for you in the show notes.
I'm Rodney Williams.
And I'm Travis Holloway. Welcome to the Wealth Break.
Let's be honest, building wealth doesn't look the same for everyone. It's not just about saving, it's about investing. It's about navigating systems that weren't built for you, embracing your hustle, and relying on your community to create something bigger.
And that's exactly why we created the Wealth Break. We made something different, something more human. It's not just another financial podcast. It's a conversation about real life, real struggles, and real wins.
We're here to talk about the journey. You're hearing from people who've broken barriers, found creative ways to succeed, and learned to build wealth on their terms. Whether it's the first-time homeowner, a gig worker, or someone turning a side hustle into a 6-figure business, we're bringing you their stories.
And we're not stopping at success stories. We're breaking down the realities, like what it means to take risk, how to navigate failure, and why resilience matters. Because wealth isn't about money. It's about creating a life where you can thrive and help others to do the same.
So if you're ready for a podcast as much as about people as it is about money, you're in the right place.
Listen to the Wealth Break podcast on the iHeartRadio app.
2 segments.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI, it's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Instagram. And we're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. So you can tune in and see the show as well as hear the show. And I'm being very serious. I said last segment before we move on that I am all for Tom Cruise winning an Academy Award for his, you can call it a Lifetime Achievement Award, but for all he's done for the Mission Impossible franchise and all the work that he's put in and the stunts, which I firmly believe are part of the acting performance. He deserves due credit and recognition for what he does over and above any other typical actor. But we'll be talking about that, I'm sure, over the coming weeks and months. More locally, we told you about what was then the impending Long Beach nurses strike. It took effect today, and it's only for 24 hours. The strike began this morning at 7 a.m., and it's scheduled to conclude at 7 a.m. tomorrow. And if you're not up on the story, this is about the Memorial Care Hospital and in Long Beach, and nurses there are going on strike for this one day, and then there's a 4-day lockout by Long Beach Medical Center 4 days after today. So there's a 5-day window in which they'll be using outside nurses and contractors at Long Beach Memorial to care for patients to make sure that patient health is not in any way negatively impacted. Now, what happens after the strike is unclear. We don't know beyond this 1-day strike, which is followed by a 4-day lockout, what these nurses plan to do. When we last spoke to someone who was on the bargaining team for the nurses, she said, Amy Woke said, that there were no negotiations at that point. Management, according to the union, had not come to the table to sit down and hash out any demands, any concerns about the work environment, and also raises, work conditions, things of that nature. If that still holds true, this might be a protracted fight. This may go on for quite some time. And we don't know the impact or the effect of this 1-day strike. And we talk about effective protests on this show all the time. And one main component of effective protests is being willing to commit for long periods of time. Long periods of time. You might, well, actually later on in the show, we're going to talk about Target and all the issues and problems that store is having, that big box retailer. And some of it has to do with people who have been boycotting Target for the better part of a year. Not a 1-day boycott, not a 6-week boycott, but a never-ending boycott until the issues as far as Target's concerned relating to DEI and also how they staff their store and also the products they sell in their store. Until those issues are addressed for the foreseeable future, Target is going to be boycotted by a number of communities. And Target, and I'll get into it later, has suffered mightily in a financial sense. But it requires commitment over the long haul, not just a day or a week. So going back to the Long Beach nurses strike, and I understand they don't want to have a protracted strike because you're talking about patient care. The patients are more important to them than anything, but they also have to balance that with their personal and professional needs. And a part of patient care is being able to work in a safe environment, being able to work in an environment where you're not understaffed, that you have all the tools available, and that includes personnel and support to make sure that you can administer the best care possible. This is just day one. This strike was announced back on May 8th. And this is May 22nd. So they gave about 2.5 week advance notice. But what happens now, we just don't know. I will call and find out if management has moved from their position, if they've come to the table, and maybe they've started or restarted the negotiation to see if some sort of movement and progress can be made. But if management has still not come to the table, then management obviously is signifying that they don't intend to come to the table anytime soon, and they're trying to break the union. That's what we'll find out after today. Even if there are no conversations, you can glean what management is or is not going to do by how they respond to this one-day strike and subsequent 4-day lockout. The 4-day lockout, to me, says a lot to me. That says to me that management has no intentions of coming to the table anytime soon. In fact, they may even extend the lockout. We'll see who will make the first move. In other words, do the nurses say, that's okay, we see your lockout and we raise you another strike in the future? That's one thing that could happen. Or management can say, you've made your point. Let's sit down and see if we can come to some sort of better understanding of what we can or can't do. But if there's any advice that I would give to the nurses and their union, you might have to be prepared for the long haul. Because only the long haul protests, or at least the commitment to it, are the ones that turn out to be successful. It's later with Mo Kelly. We're going to find out what's going on with the Metro. Rumor has it they've had a budget approved. And Michael Monks, KFI's own Michael Monks, will join us next to give us the latest.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Sardo did it again. KFI AM 640. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live on YouTube, the iHeartRadio app, and Instagram. And Michael Monks, KFI's own Michael Monks, joins me right now to give us an update on Metro. Michael, how are you doing this evening?
I'm better now that I've heard that little bop you played leading into this segment.
It slaps, doesn't it? It slaps.
It kind of does.
All jokes aside, Metro is a serious issue on this show. We know that a budget was approved today. What do we know about what's in the budget?
Well, let me ask you, if you don't mind me turning the tables a little bit here. I know you've been a pretty staunch critic of Metro, and rightfully so in many, many ways. If I told you, Mo Kelly, on Later, you got $9.4 billion with Metro, what are your top 3 priorities?
Safety, number one. All jokes aside. Safety, number one. When I say cleanliness, I'm talking about make it less unsanitary. That is a health issue as well for everyone. And I would say as an extension of that, homelessness,
Absolutely. It's almost as if you wrote the memo yourself, and the LA Metro Board of Directors today approved a $9.4 billion spending plan for the new fiscal year, which starts on July 1st. That's 2% more, $180.9 million more than they budgeted for this year. And some of the areas that are seeing more money this time around are, in fact, public safety, cleanliness, but also, of course, extending the lines. I was talking to Tawala before I left the building and headed back down here to the KFI Worldwide headquarters downtown, that he was miserable sitting in traffic for a couple of hours.
Yes.
And we're all miserable sitting in traffic in Los Angeles. And it's like, if only the system were a little cleaner, felt a little safer, and reached more parts of the city, we'd be in business.
Oh, not only would we be in business, I would be on it. And I would gladly write it because I know the potential of the system. But if you can't help me feel better about safety or lack thereof, if you can't somehow guarantee me, and I know it can be done because I see the subway system in Washington, D.C., for example. If you can't keep it clean, free of homelessness, and also somewhat safer, then I can't get on. But I know other cities have done it. Far more important cities than Los Angeles, so I know they can do it.
Absolutely. And it seems as though, in a way, these Metro board members are getting the message, but they won't come out and say it the way you or even somebody who's, I don't know, nicer about the criticism, perhaps. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but, you know, if you were approaching them in person and just gave them some honest feedback, some constructive criticism, they're getting the message, but they're not saying exactly what the problems are. They tend to talk in what I would call activist speak, right? They talk about care first. And that is, I hear the term care first at a lot of government meetings in Southern California, but especially at Metro, the LA County Board of Supervisors, the City Council in Los Angeles. And I don't know what that means. I mean, I know there's a definition for it, but I don't think the public generally cares about that term. But that's what you hear when it comes to dealing with some of these vagrants, as we heard in the song, pooping on the Metro, that
True
it would
story.
be care first. Yeah, don't just kick them off and kick them out of the station and ban them for life. It's make sure that they're being connected to services and all that. And it's all very righteous, but at the same time, how many resources, how many dollars go towards addressing that issue rather than preventing it in the first place? And so we are seeing with this budget an increase in public safety funding, while keeping in mind that this is an agency that has hired its police chief now, or its director of public safety, as they might call him. But he's a police chief of this new internal police force that's supposed to be stood up by 2029, but they're starting to do that. But in addition to that planning, they're expanding a lot of these additional safety measures they put in place. They're putting up taller fare gates in places. They're doing weapons detection. They're trying to keep the bad guys off. They've also upped the money for cleaning. There's going to be about $10 million spent this fiscal year on sprucing up various train stations because some of them are just dank and kind of scary to go in. And if you don't want to poop on the Metro, they're going to put some bathrooms in some of these places.
It's about time.
Get on board.
Because I remember when I was riding the Metro, there was no place to go to the bathroom. It wasn't like I use Washington DC as an example because I rode the subway there for many, many years, and I go back to DC every year, so I have a point of comparison. Most of the stations have a bathroom, and I know that's an added expense because you have to have it cleaned and so forth. But LA Metro, there are no bathrooms, and you're just kind of SOL, no pun intended, if you have to go to the bathroom. And I'm not surprised that you don't have actually more homeless people defecating and urinating all over the place. But let me ask you this.
That would be a fear.
Let me ask you a very, very serious question. You've seen this budget and all the line items. Was there anything in there which would give you the indication that there is money set aside for a statue of me?
They offered the public an opportunity over the previous months to submit some feedback on what you'd like to see. And I would like you to know that even on KFI letterhead, I submitted a request for this very line item and suggested that the Studio City location would be the best spot for you. Whether we're going across to the theme park or heading down. I know you had some wild times in Studio City and in your when you were sowing your wild oats. But it did not make the cut, I'm afraid to say this time. But we'll keep lobbying.
See, this is the thing which really, really girds my loins, as they say, with Metro. We try to reach out to them. We try to have them on the show so they can explain their side of their incompetency. We try to bridge this gap of lack of communication. We try to ask them about what they're doing beyond what I think they're doing so we can present a more complete picture of Metro and what may be going on behind the scenes that I don't know. I don't profess to know everything, but I try to offer a space where they have a voice here. And this is the thanks that I get. Absolutely nothing. Not a statue, not a shout out, not an interview, nothing. Not even like a picture of me in the brochure.
If you can't get a call back, you're definitely not going to get a statue yet. But one of the things, we've talked about this, Mo. I mean, you rode the Metro back in the day. I'm a user of it currently as frequently as I can in spite of itself. It's frustrating because on paper, it's mostly good. I mean, this is a city known for its car. It's not as good as it could be and maybe will be someday. It doesn't go to as many places as we need it to. But where it goes now, on paper, it's a decent system. I mean, I'm downtown right now. I could go to Long Beach. I could go up to Azusa. I can go to Santa Monica. I can go to Pasadena, and not have to worry about driving or parking and the traffic and all of that.
It's much better than 10 years ago. Michael, you were not here in Southern California 10 years ago. It's much better now as far as stations and the places that it offers to take you than 10 years ago. But
and it's going to get better. I mean,
yes,
there's a lot of allocations in this new budget. They are going to be continuing their expansion, and they've budgeted for some of the work that's already in progress. The LAX Metro Transit System. There's going to be a light rail plan in the San Fernando Valley. That's got a lot of money budgeted for it. I mean, they're trying. And we know the D line is closed right now. That's the old purple line that would run from downtown to Koreatown. It's closed until July because they're expanding it. I mean, within a couple of years, we're going to be able to get on that thing and go all the way to Westwood from Union Station.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That's good stuff.
It is.
But you really need these folks on the board to stop using that activist speak and come out and tell people who are hesitant or have had a bad experience on it and say they'll never get on it again, and say we got a zero tolerance for the bad stuff that's been happening on this train. Forget the violence. You know, it's the unquantifiable stuff. The sitting next to, you know, somebody who's having a breakdown, next to somebody doing drugs, next to somebody who's just generally making you scared, not because you're a racist or because you're an elitist, but because they're making strange noises and they're looking at you wrong. And until you can have a sense of security across this system, people are not going to get on it. And what sucks about that is it is our best answer right now that we have to combat this awful traffic.
I would like Metro, and I know that they're listening because they listen to the show every single night, evidently, because they've internalized everything I've said. I would like Metro to know that I'm the customer that they should be speaking to. What I mean is someone who wants to use Metro, who would benefit from using Metro, who is willing, ostensibly, to get on Metro, but because of the perception of the crime, the homelessness, and the unsanitary conditions, I won't. But I would want to, and I'm willing to, but they're not speaking to writers like me or potential writers like me, as it were. And I think if they could change how they present themselves, to your point, the language that they use, the priorities that they state, and acknowledge the truths that we all can see, plain as day, the perception of Metro, I think, would be considerably better.
A lot of these folks need to confront their own biases. They've been biased towards a lot of that activist language. And until they can say that maybe these approaches haven't worked, even if it's just superficial, it's not. But even if it is, even if it's just perception, their strategy has not worked. Now, the ridership has rebounded almost entirely from pre-pandemic, but the track is better since then. I mean, it should be growing substantially. Again, it's our best answer right now to this god-awful traffic we deal with, and why they don't champion it as such is just something I can't understand.
There is a Metro stop, park and ride less than a mile from my house. It would be in my best interest to ride Metro. And when I was living in Harbor City, I would take the blue line to the red line and get off at Universal City and catch the 155 bus from Universal City and stop right in front of KFI and iHeart Media Studios. If they could ever clean that up, I would love to do it again, because I'm even closer now. I just take the green line to the red line. I would do it.
You can take it all the way to the airport now, just about.
Hello. I'm telling you, Michael, if they get that statue up for me, I will go hard for Metro.
Or the world mine.
Michael Monks, KFI.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you want to get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
We've all done it. You see a headline but don't have time to read the whole story, or there's so much news you're not sure what is worth your time. I'm Colby Ekowitz, co-host of Post Reports, the weekday afternoon podcast from The Washington Post. Post Reports brings you what's relevant and revealing. Breaking stories, politics, wellness, culture. Each episode goes beyond a headline for the context you need. Find Post Reports now, wherever you're listening.
I'm Rodney Williams.
And I'm Travis Holloway. Welcome to the Wealth Break.
Let's be honest, building wealth doesn't look the same for everyone. It's not just about saving, it's about investing. It's about navigating systems that weren't built for you, embracing your hustle, and relying on your community to create something bigger.
And that's exactly why we created The Wealth Break. We made something different, something more human. It's not just another financial podcast. It's a conversation about real life, real struggles, and real wins.
We're here to talk about the journey. You're hearing from people who've broken barriers, found creative ways to succeed, and learned to build wealth on their terms. Whether it's the first-time homeowner, a gig worker, or someone turning a side hustle into a six-figure business, we're bringing you their stories.
And we're not stopping at success stories. We're breaking down the realities, like what it means to take risks, how to navigate failure, and why resilience matters. Because wealth isn't about money. It's about creating a life where you can thrive and help others to do the same.
So if you're ready for a podcast as much as about people as it is about money, you're in the right place.
Listen to the Wealth Break podcast on the iHeartRadio app.
Thanks so much.
Always a pleasure.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI, it's Mo Kelly. Later with Mo Kelly, live on YouTube, Instagram, and the iHeartRadio app. And the cool thing about watching the show, such as on YouTube or Instagram, we give you the whole show rundown. You can tell what is coming up in the next hour, the next segment, later on in the evening, and you'll have a great idea of where the show is going to go, the complete flow. You can't get that just listening to the radio. So we encourage you to tune in to the video simulcast on YouTube at Mr. Mo Kelly. On Instagram, and I understand if you're watching on Instagram, you're probably on your phone, so you don't get to see everything as easily, but you can always cast your phone for your tech geniuses out there. You know how to cast your screen to your TV, or you can use your smart TV and the YouTube app to watch the show on your big smart TV, 75 inches and full color. You get to see Mark Ronner and everything about him. His fan club is really funny. I like to tease him.
Oh, boy.
It's true, though. His fan club cannot get enough of him. Mark Ronner is a sex symbol.
It is so true.
Okay, moving on.
But actually, you know who else is getting a fan club? Eric Lusardo.
Eric Lusardo is, and also Carnisha. Carnisha showed herself. Yeah, she has on occasion, but yesterday,
She was on for a while.
Yeah, they were like, "Ooh, who's this black dime piece?" And I quote, it was borderline disrespectful, but we allowed it.
Yeah.
We allowed it. It came from a good place, hopefully. Above the waist, hopefully.
Lusardo definitely deserves whatever worship he gets here. But that new song of his almost made me cry laughing.
Oh, and from what I hear, he has another one which is debuting in the 9 o'clock hour.
Okay.
Sam Zia, the sex doctor, is in. So just cross your fingers. I don't know what's going to happen. Before we close out this hour, I don't know about you, but I don't use cash money for the most part. I keep some on hand, and even then, it's only paper. I'm not using change. I have a big jar of change that I need to take to the supermarket and put it in that machine and get like 7 cents
on the dollar.
Yeah. Because it keeps charging more and more. But, I don't use change for anything. I barely use money for anything. We're moving towards this world of digital currency, and the first step is here. The U.S. Treasury is reportedly gearing up to stop printing new pennies. Stop putting them in circulation as early as next year. The Treasury made its final order of penny blanks. They're blanks that they use. And the final order was made this month. This is going to happen. And the Treasury, the Mint, will only produce pennies until it runs out of these blanks, which means businesses are going to have to make a decision. Their prices are either going to have to round up or round down to the nearest 5-cent denomination. And look, we know businesses are never going to round down.
Yeah,
so
I'm like,
they'll round up.
That shouldn't be part of your equation, but I just want to know how quickly all the pennies that I have, like the collector pennies, my wheat pennies, all those pennies are going to go up in value.
Maybe. It depends on what they're made with. Like if you have a quarter before 1963, it has a level of silver in it, which is valuable. I don't know about pennies as far as the level of copper in them at this point. I'm quite sure there's some, currency expert out there.
I need to go because I actually have not a stellar coin collection, but I've got a coin collection I love. Like I have all of the 50 state quarters. I love coins.
Canada ditched this penny back in the 2010s, so there is precedent for this in North America. We're, again, on the late freight, doing things after everyone else. So if you have pennies, it doesn't seem like they'll probably be worth much of anything. You won't be able to use them. I don't know if you can use them as a collector's item, but they're going away soon. And if you're like me, you're on the digital currency front, hey, that world is here.
I'm trying to think. If I remember correctly, there was not much use of for pennies while we were living in Erie because there was no sales tax. And so everything was kind of, it's $4, it's $5. There was no, plus tax. It was just, it's $5 and this is what it is.
I wish the price was the price, but unfortunately it's never that way, especially not in California. KFI AM 640 live everywhere on YouTube, Instagram, and the iHeartRadio app.
Indifference Therapy. KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
We've all done it. You see a headline but don't have time to read the whole story, or there's so much news you're not sure what is worth your time. I'm Colby Ickowitz, co-host of Post Reports, the weekday afternoon podcast from The Washington Post. Post Reports brings you what's relevant and revealing. Breaking stories, politics, wellness, culture. Each episode goes beyond a headline for the context you need. Find Post Reports now, wherever you're listening.
I'm Rodney Williams.
And I'm Travis Holloway. Welcome to the Wealth Break Podcast, a real conversation about finance.
Let's be honest. Building wealth doesn't look the same for everyone.
I feel like sometimes being broke is a cycle and that we might have to revisit that.
And we're not stopping at success stories.
What happens when it doesn't go right? How do you cope with it?
Because wealth isn't just about money. It's about creating a life where you thrive and help others do the same.
Listen to the Wealth Break Podcast on the iHeartRadio app,